Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss Keir Starmer's absolutely top-notch game when it comes to trolling the Tories. They are in full meltdown today as a result of a visit to Estonia, and despite their distracting and laughably hypocritical arguments, the reason is because they know he's making their boy look ridiculous. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So we know Keir Starmer doesn't exactly have one of those sparkling, charismatic personalities that reaches beyond the camera to millions of people who will never actually meet him. You know, we're told he's very personable on Close Contact. We saw the full disclosure interview where he came across very well, which is why he should do that podcast with me. But anyway, that doesn't work when you need millions of votes. You know, but I have to say, what does come across really well, certainly to political observers, is he has a wicked sense of humour. His trolling of the Tories this year has been absolutely top drawer. First of all, he hires Sue Gray. Now, he didn't do that as a practical joke. Starmer went after her because, you know, she'd be great in the role. But it caused a meltdown within the Tory ranks. They were outraged. Not because there was anything dodgy about the appointment. There wasn't. What really outraged them was that it was a strong coup for Labour. They recognised that. It created that impression that Labour are getting ready for government. Completely derailed them. Then, more recently, Starmer hired one of Boris Johnson's ex-wives as an advisor on protecting women from harassment in the workplace. Again, she's very qualified for the role. This was not a practical joke, but it was still top trolling. And now the visit to Estonia. In order to cement Labour's support for NATO, an organisation which Labour helped establish, of course, but what's got the Tory client media frothing is the fact that Starmer was wearing military fatigues in the photo shoot. Now, I have to say, I am not a fan of politicians playing dress up, right? The cosplaying, you don't need it. They're civilians. Don't be donning costumes. He's not in the line of fire. He doesn't need that outfit, right? But, and it's a big but, I'm going to forgive him this time, because it is exposing the utter hypocrisy of the Tory press. The Telegraph are lambasting him for wearing the gear because he's a lawyer. He's not in the military, he's a lawyer. But the same Telegraph published this photo of Liz Truss without a word of condemnation, and this one of Boris Johnson, and this one of Rishi Sunak. These are all from the Telegraph. The same Telegraph has published a whole series of photos of Boris Johnson playing dress up for a number of roles, military and non-military. In fact, this one's a beauty because he's posing with a bazooka. We haven't used bazookas for decades. What's that supposed to be for? So it's obvious that the Telegraph have got absolutely no problem with political leaders playing dress up, including donning military garb unnecessarily for the purpose of photo opportunities. They've got no problem going along with that. When they presented Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss in similar situations, they presented them very positively. Every single article was very positive about them. The reason they're upset is because Starmer has done it, and it will hurt them even more that he actually manages to look credible wearing them. Because Boris Johnson always deliberately made himself look ill at ease in any costume he was in. It was part of his roguish nephew shtick for the old dears. Oh, leave him alone. He's like my miscreant nephew. He means well. His heart's in a good place. It's not his fault he keeps stealing my pension. You know, as for Liz Truss, she's always just unintentionally comical when she does these sorts of things. The less said about Rishi Sunak, the better. I mean, it's looked like his mum's sewn his name on his T-shirt so the big boys don't steal his stuff, doesn't it? Whereas, if you didn't know who Keir Starmer was, you saw a photograph like this, completely out of context, you would not know that he wasn't in the military, would you? And that's what upset in the Telegraph. That's what they hate about his trip. That is what they detest about these images. What they really hate, never mind their distractions, what they really hate is that people are going to put these images side by side with Sunak or Johnson or Truss. And I did this on the Labour social stream this afternoon. So look at these images, right? Now, I'm biased. I am biased. But try to imagine showing these images to someone who didn't know who any of these people were. They don't know who Boris Johnson is, Keir Starmer, Rishi Sunak, Liz Truss. They don't know any of them, right? Show these images to someone who knows nothing about British politics or British politicians, completely out of context. Ask them which one they believe are members of the military. I would be willing to bet a lot of money there's only one political leader there that those people would think was a military leader. That is why they hate it. Not because he did it, but because he did it well. Otherwise, they would have just ridiculed him. The reason they were happy to promote Johnson, Truss and Sunak playing dress up is because they think, rightly or wrongly, I don't know, they think it plays well to their readers and the politicians' target voters. And if images of these buffoons in military cosplay will play well to them, even though they look either intentionally or unintentionally ridiculous, how much better someone who's actually pulling the look off? So I'm going to let Starmer off with this one. Although I will say I don't really think, again, politicians should be doing it. But if this is how things are going to be now, if this ends up being how things are done, it will be the fault of the Tories and their client media. And the Daily Telegraph, far from complaining, should recognise that they have created this monster. And the trolling didn't end there either. Not that the second one was particularly aimed at the mainstream media, but I came across a beautiful little post on Twitter. It was in response to someone, some nobody gobshite on Twitter, some useful idiot for the Tories, replying to Labour Party chair Annalisa Dodds, who was attacking Rishi Sunak for, yet again, wasting a load of money on his private aircraft habit. So this fella, Andy, attempted to taunt her by saying that he or she can't wait to see Starmer on an EasyJet or Ryanair flight. This was on December the 17th. Last Sunday. So then a few days later, what do we see? Keir Starmer on a Ryanair flight. He's probably on his way to Estonia. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times when political leaders, and especially senior ministers, including the Prime Minister, may need a private flight to get to a quick international meeting before being back for a key vote in Parliament or something. There will be times when that is necessary. Of course there are. If you need a flight or if you need to have confidential conversations, you can't be discussing top secret affairs on Ryanair, right? But particularly in a cost of living crisis, I think politicians need to make an effort to judge when it's necessary and when it's not. Now, because I wouldn't want Starmer to make the mistake that Jimmy Carter made. Jimmy Carter is absolute paragon of virtue of Western political leaders. But he made his secretaries of state do without the chauffeuring about. And it's like, well, when they're being chauffeured around, okay, it might look a bit posh, but they are working. And you cost them productivity if you deny them that, which then weakened his administration and allowed Reagan in. No one wanted that. Well, I didn't. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do this, we need to go, and use the public transport all the time just for the sake of it. But there are times when chartered transport might be necessary, and there are times when routine services will do you. Even if it's for show, to send a message, because politics is about sending messages a lot. You may say that Starmer's doing this, he's really just doing it to send a message, largely performative. It's like, okay, politics does that a bit. But if you're going to send a message, send the right one. So yes, tip my hat to Starmer. He's got his faults communication-wise. He needs to get in touch with me. But he is a superb troll of the Tories. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.